Hello friends, this is Cara-Renee with B.Reborn Art and Healing. This is a video making some themed ephemera for the I Am Grateful journal. I originally had this video in real time, but it got super long, so I decided to go ahead and just scrap the audio and do a voiceover. So we'll be making a couple of tiny books, 2 library pockets and putting some tags in those, and then an altered envelope that's going to be an over-the-page flip. So we're going to start with these tiny booklets. I did already cut them down to size. They are measure 1, I believe it was 1.5 by 1 inch. And then I've got little bits of ephemera or little lace and words there to put on them. I'm going to be attaching the little books with bulb pins just to make it easy. So I did just fold the scraps of coffee dyed paper, and then I just stuck them in there, and then I trimmed them off while they were inside of the cover. Worked out really well. I'm going to try to put some bling on them. I already did pick a couple pieces, so this video was quite the challenge. I entered into the process with a lot on my mind, and it just didn't go very well. So I think that's why it took me so long. I should probably kind of listen to myself and my heart and just not try to do a video when I'm in that space, but I did just keep pushing on through. So I'm going ahead and inking all the edges of these tiny books. We're going to be attaching some eyelets to the front and back cover so that we can add a closure. But first we're going to go ahead and staple those pages in. And here I was just talking about, I had tried on just a sample doing an eyelet on the back upper left-hand corner of the book, and that would have worked as well. But in this case, I wanted to do a closure with the eyelets on the front. So I'm using my Tim Holtz tiny attacher, and I'm going to attach 2 staples to the spine there to connect those pages. And again, these papers are from my Porch Prints Almost Autumn kit. That is the kit that I'm using throughout this process. Even though there will probably be ephemera that is not from the kit, the primary paper is from my Porch Prints. So, and there we go. So that one did get a little offline there on the back, but I just turned it over and it was fine. And it's super low profile, not very thick at all. So I think it's going to be great as a little dangle on the side of or off of a page or something. So now I'm going to go ahead and punch the holes for my eyelets on the front and the back of each of the books. And as I mentioned in my videos, I am not the expert on the crocodile. It's still fairly new to me, and I use it, but not a ton, and I haven't experimented a whole lot with it, so still learning the tricks. And there I'm just showing you that I realized that the back of that digital was a bad print, and so it's got some funky color on there when my printer ran out of ink. So I'm just going to leave it because it's for my journal. If I was making it for someone else, I would cover that with a piece of paper, coffee dyed paper or something. So here I'm just going the easier route there and putting some pencil marks where my holes need to be for my eyelets. I just love the little books, and I will definitely write in them. No doubt about it. They're so cute. The journal is coming along very, very nice. I'm really enjoying it. So I hope you guys are doing well. I taped this on Saturday after having had a visit with a friend who was just diagnosed with a brain tumor, and I hadn't seen her in quite a while. She actually used to be my counselor, and but due to COVID and other circumstances, I have not seen her in a while. So it was really good to see her and catch up, but it was also emotionally draining for me. So I think I was kind of processing that as I was trying to create, and it didn't, it just kind of, things just felt a little sideways. So that's why I decided to go ahead and do a voiceover just to make this a little bit shorter video and a little bit cleaner for you guys. So just setting that last eyelet here. And then I pulled this, like it's an eyelash trim, and I initially was going to use it for the closures. You'll see in the photos at the end that I do change that out to some twine, because this was just not very, I need it to be easily used, and it was not. So I decided to go ahead and change that out, but you'll be able to see that in the end photo. So just finishing up, putting those the eyelash trim here. I went ahead and saved the other booklet to do off camera because it was the exact same process. So, but we will be decorating this one here in just a moment. Super cute. Yeah, not able to tie it in a bow. My fingers are too big. So just trimming that off just a little bit. And again, I do change that out for a different twine that was a little bit more user-friendly. And then realizing that I need to take that back off so that I can go ahead and do my decorating and other stuff. And then put my bulb pin in. So I decided, since there was only 3 thin pieces of coffee dyed paper and then the digital paper, that the bulb pin would work just fine. And then I did pull these, forgetting that I had already pulled 2 little dangles, bead dangles out from somewhere else, but it's okay. I went ahead and went with a leaf on this one, and it turned out just fine. Obviously the ones that are not strong, I can't really use kind of on the fly. I'm going to have to prep some dangle bits to be able to use here in the future, but I'm going to use this little leaf, and it turned out just fine. It was a little bit big for such a tiny little booklet, but I was happy with it. And again, it is a journal for my use, so I'm just not worried too much about all those details. It just hangs really nice, and I'll be able to hang that. I can hang it on an eyelet in the journal, or I can hang it off of a piece of lace or something. We'll just kind of see how it goes as I put the book together. And then just tying it up one more time. Then we're going to move on to our library pockets. Just going to clean up here a little bit. Oh, I forgot. I do need to do the decorating here, which in real time I said the exact same thing, I believe. So just got a little bits of lace here that I'm going to use to kind of build a little bit of interest on the cover. And I printed the little words out teeny tiny. I believe that they are printed 4 to a page, so down to like 25% their regular size. I love having the option of doing that and adjusting the sizes in the print options on the printer. Just trimming that little piece down, and I'm using the same laces in bits and pieces throughout the journal, kind of trying to keep a theme here, a little bit of gold and this brown lace, as well as that really beautiful decorative kind of scalloped looking lace that you've seen in other videos that's a brown tone as well. And then just inking up my little sentiment. It's so small I can't read it as I'm doing the voiceover. I think this one says breathe in, but we'll see a close-up here in a second. There we go. Yep. Breathe in. Focus. There we go. So stinking cute. And then again, just saying that bulb pin will be able to attach anywhere in the journal that I choose. Just kind of cleaning up my bits here so that we can move on to the library pockets. And I've never done library pockets before, so I did have a template that I purchased from, I believe it was Gina Makes It, and it just helped me to kind of get started, because again, I've not done them before. I know that there's an easier way than using a template. I just haven't played around a lot with it. And here I realized, as I was beginning to fold that up to make the pocket, that it ended up having those pumpkins be upside down. So I went ahead and grabbed a piece of vellum to just kind of disguise that. I want to go ahead and use what I prepared, and sometimes that happens. We don't always get things right, and so we can improvise and be satisfied. So I was satisfied with this by just putting a little bit of a vellum that took away from the fact that those pumpkins were upside down. And because this was a real-time video, yeah, lots of talking with my hands, so you just have to bear with me. I talk a lot with my hands, apparently. And there we go. Just going to go ahead and fold that up into place. Oh, I think I need to do my inking first too. So, and rounding the corners. And then I believe that I do go ahead and ink both of those library pockets before we move on to kind of the construction. I don't usually do voiceovers, so I get a little bit discombobulated when I have to do that. So I do edit my videos, but I don't very often do a voiceover. Only if the video seems a little bit disjointed or too long, I'll do a voiceover if I need to. So here, going to go ahead and ink all that up. I love these digitals. And again, these are from my Porch Prints Almost Autumn kit. It was a way for me to kind of dip my toes into the world of creating fall art and fall journals, because I don't like the traditional colors of, not the colors of autumn, but I don't really care for the oranges and the blacks. I really appreciate the muted down pastel colors here that, again, help me just kind of ease into it a little bit. So just kind of playing around with that a little bit. And I'm going to go ahead and glue those pockets shut. A little bit of art glitter glue. They're a pretty nifty little pocket. I haven't done them before. I've seen a lot of them, but I've not really used them myself. And I'll try to remember to link the paper that is printed on the back of these digitals. It's a coffee and tea stained kit that I purchased off of Etsy. But I love the tones of that kind of bluish gray one. And then these are tags that I made, that I cut out of that collage masterboard that I did, that you will have already seen on my channel if you follow me, so you can check that out. And then this is the vellum piece I'm going to use to kind of disguise the fact that those pumpkins are upside down. And again, embracing imperfection here, because I realized that that cut was way off. And I just went with it. I made a new mark here to kind of straighten out or cut off the bottom. And I just let the imperfection be there, that pocket, one of the pocket edges is not straight. But it's not a big deal. And I'm gluing the whole thing down because I'm not using it as a pocket or anything. I'm just using it to disguise those other pumpkins. So, which is just fine. I could have made a pocket, but I don't need another pocket here. And there we go. Now we can move on to decorating and doing a little bit of collage work on the front of that vellum pocket. Just collected some bits from from my scraps from the kit, and some other things from my stash. That's just that one that I just put down is from the kit, and this is a piece of the pumpkin. And then there's that handmade paper there that's kind of a yellowish orange there that's in my hands. This was the handmade paper that my neighbor gave me, and I'm going to also be kind of having that be a spattering throughout the journal as well. And then here's a little bit of that gold fabric. It's actually from a garment, and that's another piece that I want to have throughout the journal, just to kind of tie everything together. I'm a matchy kind of artist, so it'll be interesting when I start dabbling into more using vintage ephemera and using things that don't necessarily go together. It's not that I don't want to do that, I just don't have the ephemera. I'm still collecting, so right now I use what I have, and I'm happy with it. So, but I hope to be able to gravitate towards a more eclectic kind of feel to my journals rather than matchy. So, but that will come. And there we go, just finishing up that cluster. And then I chose the word pumpkins to go on here because it's a pumpkin pocket, so that was fitting. I love it. I love the little gold bits. And then here's the second pocket. We're going to decorate this one as well really fast. And this is the other lace I was talking about, that kind of scalloped edge, beautiful lace. This is a lace that's going to be throughout the journal as well. I really like being able to add a little bit of femininity to the journal, especially because of the theme. It helps me to approach the journal in a different way so that I see things that are already really pretty and pleasing to my eyes. And I believe that will help me to be able to utilize the journal rather than having a lot of things in it that really don't feel timely, I guess, for me. I want to have colors around me that bring joy and inspire creativity. So I love the lace bits. They make a really good complement on the journal. And again, just using scraps from the kit to create a little bit of a cluster here on the bottom. I love making clusters. I love being able to see all those raw edges and all the colors peeking through. And I think it's really, really pretty. And it creates a little bit of bulk, but it's not awful. And this journal, the signatures will be held in with elastic binding. And I did a 3-inch spine with 3 signatures. So that allows me 1 inch of space for each signature. So I have a little bit of more room to have some bulkier things and not get the gator mouth than I have in other journals, I'm hoping anyway. And I love that little sparkle on the bottom of that yellow piece, that handmade paper. So I'm trying to preserve that because it's so beautiful. And then just another, this is a piece of that green pumpkin. Oh, I forgot I wanted a little piece of lace here, of that scallop lace. And I am using my Fabri-Tac to put down anything that's more textile-ish, like the lace and such, because it just ensures that it holds better. So there we go. There's that little blingy bit that's in the paper. I think it's so cool. She said that she'll teach me how to do it, but we'll probably have to wait till the spring or summer again, but I'm really looking forward to that. And there we go. So there's our other quote that says daisies, because this is the daisy pocket. I decided on another piece of lace here, apparently. I forgot about that. Again, just the layers just are really, they make me happy. So, and that's the key with making journals, especially if you're making a journal for yourself. Fill it with things that you love. There are no rules about it. So do what you like. I love all the shininess and the little bit of bling that those pieces are bringing to the card. So that's going to be gorgeous in a journal. And then here again, we're going to go ahead and put those tags back in. And again, those were from the collage masterboard that I created, and I was able to get 2 tags out of it. So I thought they were kind of nature or botanical kind of themed. So I thought that they were perfect for this. So there we go. Strength and fearless. Yes. Just cleaning up my mess there a little bit. And then now we're going to do an envelope pocket. So this, I'm using a mailer, and we're going to have it hang from the top of the page. So I don't use everything that you see there because I did bump into a little bit of difficulty, but I haven't done a lot of these envelopes, so I am still learning. I had put together this little pad of paper, just a variety of scraps from my drawer that I'm going to put on the back of that envelope to create a writing space. And I kind of had a happy surprise as I moved through this, because I didn't realize that when I put it the way I attached it to the envelope and put it over the page, that the writing pages are actually on the other side of the page, which is pretty cool. I'll show you that in the very end though. I thought I had cut paper already to put here on the back, but apparently I had missed that. So I'm going to go ahead and cut those pieces really quick. just going to go ahead and trim those off real fast. I love this We Are Memory Keepers kind of smaller guillotine cutter. It behaves better than my standard cutter that I always use, or trimmer. And it's easier to get on my work surface and not take up the entire screen. There we go. I did forget to measure the top, so I'll have to pull that out again. That's okay. You just go with the flow, right? This is supposed to be a joy-filled process, so I don't sweat the small stuff. And here I'm going to go ahead and attach that little picture that I selected for the window, and then we're going to be collaging around that window when we get to that point. I'll go ahead and glue that little paper on. I'm using my art glitter glue. I love that picture. I just love the tones of this paper. They just really make me happy. Go ahead and ink the edges of this piece before I put it on. We've already got a lot of ephemera for this journal, and I'm going to be putting some ephemera in on the pages. I'm not going to film everything, so if I do something off camera, I'll be sure to show you at the beginning of the following video so that you guys can see what I've done. Here just was thinking about how I was going to attach that paper pad, but you're going to see that as we move along here. And again, art glitter glue for the paper. It was a perfect fit. So again, just kind of trying to think through the process of how I want to handle that fold over part. So I did want to go ahead and cover it. In retrospect, I probably would have put this paper on the top or after I attached the papers, because it actually would have concealed more of what I was doing with the paper pad and stapling and those kinds of things. But you'll see that here as we continue on. This paper, I believe, is old parchment lace paper from my Porch prints. I haven't used it much because I forget about those kinds of papers that are just more, they're not a part of a kit per se, and so I tend to forget about them, which is why I often like to just kind of take a tour of my own studio to see what I have, because I do forget, so, which is kind of a shame to have too much and that you forget what you have, but it is what it is. I try to be grateful for that. I filmed a short studio tour. I haven't done one since July of 2020, so I'm just waiting for that to kind of import from my phone to my computer so I can do an edit. It will be a short video, and it's going to be a voiceover because I cannot talk and move around the room at the same time because my spaces are so small. So the spaces in between my work surface and my shelving and those kinds of things. So, and here we're just going ahead and putting on that paper pad with my little tiny attacher. And I want to secure that very, very well. So I'm using 3 staples on each side. And then, so there's how it's going to flip over. So I will cover that part too, but see if you look there, now my staples show on the other side, which I may go back before I put it in the journal and put another lightweight fabric over those staples, or maybe I'm doing it now. I can't remember. That was yesterday, you know. Looks like I am putting it on. I forgot I did that. My brain is getting old, so it's hard for me to remember things for very long. It just kind of goes in and out. Not to say that I'm ancient or anything. I'm not. I'm 56 years old, but I can definitely feel the movement of time as I get older, and my brain just doesn't work as well, you know? And I am leaving a little bit there on the top to fold over, and that will be part of the collaging on the front of the video, on the front of the envelope. I figured that that would help with creating some stability over that fold. That's going to be the flap over. I hope I'm explaining it well. It's kind of hard to do a voiceover. It's easier to talk through it while I'm creating, and as I've mentioned before, I have a really hard time talking present tense in a voiceover when it's not present tense. I'm talking in the past. I did this yesterday, not today. So that's a little tricky for me in my brain, but you know, we're each very individual, and it's okay. All of our little idiosyncrasies, right? There we go. That is better. So this is, I believe, the point where, or maybe it's a little bit later, where I realized how that's going to actually hang over the page. I was just like, whoa, yeah, it was this point. So I grabbed my journal, and I'm going to go ahead and show you on the page in a signature how that flip is actually going to work that I didn't think about, that those pages are going to go over to the new page, which I just think is adorable. I'm really, really happy with that. It was not what I expected. So, because I didn't do a prototype. Often I'll do a prototype before I do a video, but I did not do that. I don't have quite as much time to create as I did before I went back to work here at the school, so I have to be a little bit more frugal with my time. So here we're just going to go ahead and do the collaging here, and I'll just let you kind of watch that. It's a great way to use your scraps, which is basically what I've done here. Is I keep these, when I'm working on a project, I have these like bags, clear bags that I put my ephemera pieces in, as well as I have one for all my scraps from that kit, pieces that I'm already using, like lace and things like that. So I have the regular kit, I have the smaller version of the kit that I've already cut out, the ephemera, and I just keep that in a bin, and you'll see that bin when I do the studio tour. So I hope you'll tune back in. I always feel a little self-conscious because there's so many people that create posts and they talk about what a chaotic place their studio is, and I think they don't think I'm real, because my studio is not like that. My studio is very clean and very organized, and I am still creative. And it's kind of a misnomer that you can't be organized and creative, because I am both. So you're going to see a pristine studio, and it was not just for the camera. It is how I keep my studio. I don't like to work in chaos. And I think that was part of my issue while I was creating yesterday, is I was trying to do so much so quickly that I was just surrounded by paper, and I was having to lift things and move things, and I was just getting buried under stuff, and I don't work well in that environment. It's just very counterproductive for me. So I understand that works for some people, and that is awesome. And I love that we're all so different. And I really embrace that, because I don't have anything against people that have a messier studio, because if that's the way you function and that's your happy place, then I think that's amazing. But it's not mine. So you'll be able to see that kind of in the video tour here. Everything has a place in my studio, and I know where everything is. Even if I forget sometimes to look, to think in my mind about all the things that I have, I do have to kind of go back through my stuff just to refresh my memory. But I do know where everything is, which really helps me to be able to create in the way that's fitting for my style. So just finishing up this collaging here. I almost wish that I had done like just book pages or something around that window, because I feel like all the busyness of those papers takes away from the window picture there. So I might do that differently in the future. Just thinking about that now as I'm looking at it, doing the voiceover, that I think that would be a nice way to do that as well. So it's still beautiful, not a problem. Just cutting another little piece there for that little square that's missing. Just trimming off those edges and just cleaning that up a little bit. We're going to do a little bit of decorating as well on the front. I thought about putting a pocket there underneath those papers, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to let that be a pretty space to look at least at this point. So now we're going to do a little bit of decorating. So again, this is a lace that's going to be used throughout the journal. I really like the tone of the brown, so we're going to use that. And again, you'll see that spotted throughout all of the pieces that I create. And then I thought I'd bring in another lighter lace just to add a little bit more dimension. I kept this envelope really simple, so I wanted to add a little bit of fun to it. I'm going to let that dry before I trim it off. I had wanted to use this ephemera piece as kind of a part of the corner above that window, but one, it was too big, and two, I forgot about it. So in looking at it again, I realized it was actually too big, but that's okay. Not all of our ideas pan out, do they? This is actually a ticket from the Book Lovers kit, I believe, also from my Porch Prints. And so I picked the ticket here because I just like that little watch, and then the words there, quill and ink, because this is a journal and I hope to be writing a lot of gratitude in it. So I thought it was a good combination for this almost autumn kit. Yeah, trying to find a little piece of lace, it looks like. This was ribbon that I have in my stash that I'm going to be using to create the dangle, the spine dangle for this journal. So I was going to use it here, but then I touched it and it just kind of like fell apart. So I scrapped that. It's when it's all folded up, it's really beautiful, but it does unravel. And then I thought about using that little scrap that's coffee dyed eyelet trim. And but I decided to go back to my favorite lace here, this really wide weave. It's a creamy color, and I use it a lot in my stuff, so I'm going to use it on here as well. I'm just putting it down, and I'm going to allow the glue on the back of the words adhere to the paper. It does require it to set a little bit longer than if I had attached it directly, but the weave on that lace is so wide that it would have been really hard to do. So there again, we've got our paper on the back. It's going to go over the page. It's absolutely beautiful. Thanks so much for watching, you guys. Take care. See you later. Bye-bye.